Our mind produces a different kind of thoughts constantly. Some of these thoughts we are aware of, but there are many thoughts that we don't even recognize. Thoughts are like a flow, they come and go. Our thoughts can affect a lot to our well-being and to our everyday life because we tend to believe our feelings and thoughts. Do you recognize what kind of thoughts you have at the moment? What kind of story are you telling to yourself at the moment?
Our thoughts and feelings easily gain very much power in our minds, and they can overwhelm us. For example, if you feel inadequate or inefficient at work, these thoughts can really be overwhelming and affect your well-being at work and also in your life. Professor Stephen Hayes, who is a pioneer researcher in psychological flexibility, often talked about this inner dictator who really tells us all the time what we have to do, or are we good enough, or should we be ashamed of ourselves. This inner voice is often negative, but it can be positive as well. What matters is how much control we give the inner voice.
When practicing psychological flexibility, it is important to recognize our own thoughts and the way how we speak to ourselves, and learn to reduce the power of our thoughts over us. This can be practiced by learning to understand and to realize that thoughts are just thoughts, not facts. Becoming aware of our thoughts is not easy, and usually requires a lot of practice. We may not even recognize what kind of thoughts we are having. However, by practicing, you can learn this.
Feelings of frustration or inadequacy caused by a stressful situation can often be caused by unconscious thoughts patterns that have been with us for a long time. And many times we are used to thinking negative thoughts as problems that need to be solved. By noticing and recognizing these unconscious thoughts, you can understand your feelings better and stop to examine the usefulness of your own thoughts from the perspective of an observer. You can notice, for example, a thought like, "I can't do this task." You can practice thinking of this only as the voice produced by the inner dictator. You can notice a thought and, for example, thank your mind for the thought it produced. After this, you can decide that the thought produced by the inner dictator is not useful for you at that point. It's only voice produced by your mind. This thought does not mean that you cannot do this task, because you are separate from your own thoughts.
You can take unpleasant and negative feelings as an opportunity to stop and explore the thoughts and beliefs behind these unpleasant feelings. Usually, you can find some harmful thoughts behind these feelings. So our thoughts affect our feelings, but our feelings also affect our thoughts. In the same situation, we can react in very different ways, depending on what our own emotional state is. When you are tired, hungry, or had bad night's sleep, you probably feel the same unpleasant events worse than when you are in a good mood and feeling well. When you keep in mind the influence of your own emotions on your thinking, you can avoid feeding your own negative thinking.
So, it is possible to change your attitude towards thoughts. Thoughts can be seen as they really are. They are just thoughts, not the facts. Thus, the power of the thoughts can be reduced. One of the main points of the psychological flexibility is the understanding that our thoughts are not the truth of ourselves, and that we can only listen and observe them. Just like we are listening to some beautiful music or looking at some beautiful painting, we can observe our thoughts and feelings.
Our thoughts and feelings are not facts about ourselves, but the product of our inner voice. Our mind is very good at making up stories about us, but by separating your thoughts from yourself, you can really affect your well-being and accept your thoughts just as thoughts. By taking another perspective to your thoughts, you can really affect your well-being. In this section, we will do exercises that will help you to take a different kind of perspective, or an observer perspective to your thoughts. When you do these exercises, try to keep in mind what is really meaningful for you and your own values, and try to recognize the thoughts that really hinder or stop you from going towards these values. Recognizing these negative thoughts and feelings will help you go towards what is really meaningful for you.